Breaking. Did a self-powered aircraft just enter US airspace? Whispers are turning into shouts as Maxwell Chikumbutso's revolutionary technology is rumored to have arrived. This isn't just about a new plane, it's about a complete game-changer for aviation and national security. Get ready, because the skies are about to change forever. Imagine an aircraft that needs no fuel, no charging, no external power. Sound like science fiction? What if I told you it might already be here, quietly making its way through the most heavily monitored skies on Earth, the United States airspace? Reports are circulating that a strange aircraft, with no conventional exhaust signature or radar tag, was recently tracked over restricted zones. It wasn't identified as military. It wasn't commercial. And yet, it flew with a steady trajectory, seemingly unaffected by weather, fuel, or altitude. The name now echoing through aerospace circles? Maxwell Chikumbutso. For some, that name sparks excitement. For others, deep skepticism. But for everyone watching, one truth is becoming harder to ignore. Something is happening above our heads that could redefine the rules of flight. Chikumbutso, the Zimbabwean inventor known for his bold claims of self-powered machines, has been a figure of fascination for over a decade. From homes powered without electricity lines to vehicles that never need refueling, his ideas have always danced on the edge between miracle and impossibility. Now, rumors claim his latest creation, a self-sustaining aircraft, has taken to the skies of America. If true, this would represent not just an invention, but an evolution. The world's most advanced aviation technology has always been about efficiency, lighter materials, better engines, renewable fuels. But what if someone has already bypassed the entire concept of fuel altogether? What if the next revolution in flight doesn't come from Boeing or SpaceX, but from an African inventor working with technology the world can't fully explain? It's a whisper on the wind, the Chikumbutso enigma. For years, skeptics dismissed his claims as too good to be true. They called it pseudoscience, impossible under the known laws of physics. Yet, others saw something else. A spark of genius hidden under unconventional methods. Chikumbutso has often said his inventions work on principles of electromagnetic energy conversion. He believes in tapping ambient energy, power that exists all around us, and channeling it in ways current engineering can't yet replicate. In simple terms, imagine drawing limitless power from thin air. It's an idea that feels mythic. But then again, flight itself was once myth too. So how does this self-powered aircraft supposedly work? According to various leaked reports and statements attributed to Chikumbutso's team, the aircraft doesn't rely on combustion, batteries, or solar. Instead, it allegedly uses a closed-loop system that continuously converts electromagnetic and radio frequency energy into usable propulsion and electrical power. In theory, that means infinite endurance. No refueling stops. No carbon emissions. Just continuous flight. Experts are baffled, saying such technology, if real, would overturn nearly every known law of energy conservation. But they also admit, strange anomalies have been recorded in radar and flight tracking systems that don't fit typical aircraft behavior. One aviation engineer from Arizona recently reported seeing what looked like a silent, glowing craft at 20,000 feet. No contrails. No sound. Just movement, precise and steady. It didn't show up on any standard transponder logs. Could this be coincidence? Or the first public glimpse of something extraordinary? Theoretical physicists often dismiss the concept of free energy because it challenges thermodynamic limits. Energy, they say, must come from somewhere. Yet, the history of science is filled with moments where the impossible became standard. Radio waves, electricity, nuclear power. All were once deemed absurd. Now they shape civilization. So what if Chikumbutso's principles aren't entirely impossible, just not yet understood? Some engineers speculate his designs may use resonance frequencies, manipulating electromagnetic fields to create thrust without expelling mass. Others suggest an undisclosed material or nanostructure could amplify ambient energy in new ways. None of it can be proven, but all of it raises the same question. How did this technology allegedly make it into US airspace without formal recognition? That's where the story turns from science to policy. The United States has one of the most controlled and secure airspaces in the world. Every aircraft, from commercial jets to private drones, requires clearance. Flight plans, transponder codes, radar tracking. It's a bureaucratic fortress in the sky. So, if an unregistered, unidentified aircraft truly entered that system, alarms would go off instantly. And yet, the rumors persist that something did, and that federal agencies are investigating quietly. Some insiders hint that NORAD radar picked up an unidentified low-signal object traveling across state lines before vanishing into civilian space. The object's speed and silence didn't match any known aircraft type. Military analysts are cautious but intrigued. Could this be an experimental craft under testing? Or something international, perhaps private innovation flying under the radar? If it is Maxwell Chikumbutso's creation, the implications are staggering. For the FAA, it means facing an entirely new class of aircraft, one that doesn't fit existing fuel-based or electrical propulsion models. There are no certification standards for perpetual flight, no protocols for electromagnetic propulsion. And if it truly draws energy from the environment, how do you regulate something that never needs to land? The challenges stretch beyond logistics. They reach into national security. Imagine a craft capable of indefinite flight, silent operation, and unlimited range. Such a machine could evade detection, cross borders effortlessly, and outlast any interceptor. It's no wonder intelligence agencies would be interested. But while the US scrambles for answers, the world watches with fascination. If Maxwell's aircraft is real, the aftershocks could be global. Aviation economics would collapse overnight. Airlines dependent on billions in jet fuel would need total reinvention. Cargo, logistics, defense, every system built around fuel supply chains would crumble or transform. Even renewable aviation projects like hydrogen or biofuel would lose relevance. Because what's cleaner than infinite clean energy? The environmental implications are equally profound. Self-powered flight would end emissions from aviation, one of the world's most polluting industries. Skies would clear, costs would plummet. Flight could become as simple and accessible as turning on a light. But beneath the excitement, questions of control and ownership emerge. Who gets to manage such power? Who decides who flies? If one inventor from Africa holds the key to limitless propulsion, geopolitical dynamics shift overnight. Superpowers would race to secure the technology. Patents would spark international disputes. And nations might clash over something as invisible as electromagnetic fields. Already, whispers suggest certain agencies have tried to reach Chikumbutso for collaboration or containment. But those close to him claim he values transparency and freedom, a desire to use his discoveries for public good rather than private profit. If that's true, he could be both the most admired and most feared inventor of the century. Yet, all this remains in the realm of speculation. Until official confirmation arrives, skepticism remains the scientific norm. Still, the timing feels significant. The aviation industry is desperate for breakthroughs. Fuel prices, environmental pressures, and sustainability goals all push for change. Electric planes struggle with range. Hydrogen has infrastructure hurdles. Solar flight remains impractical for large-scale transport. So, a self-powered aircraft isn't just exciting, it's necessary. If Chikumbutso's design truly functions as claimed, it could leapfrog a century of incremental progress in a single motion. The FAA would eventually have to adapt. New frameworks for energy-independent aircraft would emerge. Airworthiness standards would redefine themselves around electromagnetic systems instead of combustion safety. Military strategists would rethink air dominance. How do you compete with an aircraft that never needs to refuel? How do you track something that emits no heat, no exhaust, and minimal radar reflection? The potential is revolutionary and terrifying. But perhaps the deeper impact lies in inspiration. Maxwell's story is one of resilience. From humble beginnings in Zimbabwe, he built machines many dismissed as fantasy. Without massive funding or global labs, he challenged physics with imagination. Now, his name could become synonymous with the next phase of human flight. Whether the aircraft truly entered US airspace or not, the fact that the question is even being asked reveals something powerful. People are ready to believe in a new kind of possibility. We're standing at a crossroads between disbelief and discovery. The line between science and science fiction is blurring faster than ever. And while skeptics demand evidence, innovators keep pushing forward. Throughout history, revolutionary ideas were always ridiculed before they were recognized. When the Wright brothers first flew, experts said heavier-than-air flight was impossible. When Tesla demonstrated wireless energy, he was mocked as a dreamer. Now, their visions shape our world. So perhaps, decades from now, we'll look back and say the same of Chikumbutso. That the whispers of his aircraft in US skies were not myths, but the first signs of a transformation. Imagine the future, airports reimagined as launch hubs, not fuel depots. Flights lasting weeks instead of hours. Rescue drones staying airborne indefinitely during disasters. Cargo fleets moving goods non-stop across continents without a drop of fuel. Military reconnaissance missions lasting months without resupply. The possibilities are endless. But with such potential comes responsibility. If the technology exists, how do we ensure it benefits humanity rather than divides it? Technology has always been neutral. It's the intent behind its use that defines its legacy. For every revolutionary invention, there's always a race between innovation and regulation. And in this race, time is short. Because if Chikumbutso's aircraft is truly in the skies, the world has already changed, even if most don't realize it yet. As aerospace analysts scramble for answers, one thing is clear. The idea of limitless flight is no longer fiction. It's a question of when, not if. Some reports even suggest that private testing may already be happening over secure corridors. If those tests succeed, we could witness public demonstrations within the next few years. Imagine the day the first self-powered plane lands at a major US airport. No refueling trucks. No charging stations. Just silence, awe, and disbelief. That moment would mark the end of an era and the beginning of another. And whether you believe in Chikumbutso's work or not, his vision has reignited something rare, curiosity. A sense that the impossible might not be so impossible after all. The boundaries of science bend with imagination. And every whisper, every rumor, every grainy photo of an unidentified craft could be another step toward redefining flight itself. So, what happens next? Experts will demand proof. Governments will demand control. But the people, they'll demand hope. Because at the heart of this story isn't just one inventor or one aircraft. It's the universal dream of human freedom, to rise above limitation. To conquer distance without destroying the world that sustains us. To finally fly without fear of depletion. If that's the dream Chikumbutso represents, then perhaps we are already witnessing the dawn of a new aviation age. Beyond the horizon, the future of flight glows with uncertainty and promise. Somewhere above the clouds, maybe right now, a silent craft cuts through the night sky, powered not by engines but by vision. And if it truly is his, then Maxwell Chikumbutso may have already changed history, without making a sound. Because sometimes, the greatest revolutions don't start with a roar. They begin with a whisper that refuses to fade. And that whisper might just be flying above us, unseen, unstoppable, rewriting the very rules of the sky.